Welcome to Cheater Confessions. Let's get started with today's story. I used to believe that love, real love, could survive anything. That if you put in the effort, if you truly gave your all, things would work out in the end. But life has a way of proving you wrong. Cynthia and I had been married for 6 years. To the outside world, we looked like any other couple. Two people sharing a life, going through the motions of marriage, making plans for the future. But what people didn't see was what happened behind closed doors. The distance between us had been growing for a long time. At first, it was just small things, forgetting to say good morning, conversations that felt more like checklists than real talks, empty spaces where laughter used to be. Then came the arguments. Some were about ridiculous things, like me leaving my socks on the floor or her spending too much time on her phone at dinner. But others ran deeper. Money, priorities, whether we even wanted the same future anymore. I wasn't blind. I knew something had shifted. Cynthia wasn't the same woman I married. Or maybe she was, and I had just ignored the signs all along. But I loved her. I really did. And love meant trying, even when things got hard. So I worked hard. I put in extra hours at my job trying to save enough money for us to buy a house. That was my dream, to finally have a home of our own. A place where we could start over. Maybe, just maybe, that house would fix what was broken between us. Cynthia, however, didn't see things the same way. I walked through the front door that evening, already sensing the tension in the air before I even set my bag down. She was in the kitchen, arms crossed over her chest, her lips pressed into a tight line. I sighed internally. I knew that look. "We need to talk," she said. That phrase never meant anything good. "What is it now?" I sighed, setting my bag down. I was too tired for another fight. "I saw this beautiful set of furniture today," she said. "It's on sale, but we need to buy it now before the price goes back up." I rubbed my temples. "Cynthia, we can't afford that right now. We've been saving for the house, remember?" She rolled her eyes. "You always say that. We can't afford this, we can't afford that. What's the point of saving if we can't even live?" I exhaled sharply. "The point is so we can have a real future, a home, a life where we're not constantly struggling." She scoffed. "You act like I'm asking for a private jet, Trevor. It's just furniture." "It's not about the furniture," I shot back. "It's about priorities, about building something stable." Her laughter was bitter. "You call this stability? You barely spend time with me, you're always exhausted, and when you're home all you talk about is money. This isn't a marriage, Trevor. This is survival." The words stung. "I'm trying," I said, voice tight. "I work myself to the bone for us, and it still feels like it's never enough." "Because it isn't," she snapped. "You do the bare minimum and expect me to be grateful." Something inside me broke at that moment. I grabbed my keys and walked out. I needed air. "I can't do this right now," I muttered under my breath as I slammed the door behind me. What I didn't know was that night would change everything. I didn't go far. Just walked around the block, hands shoved deep into my pockets, my breath coming out in sharp bursts. The cool night air did nothing to settle the storm brewing inside me. Why did every conversation with Cynthia feel like a battle? Why did it always seem like I was the only one fighting to keep us together? I tried to shake it off, tried to convince myself that it was just another argument, like all the others, that we'd cool down, go to bed in separate corners of the mattress, and wake up pretending like nothing had happened. But something about this fight felt different, heavier. I sighed, running a hand over my face, and that's when it hit me. I left my wallet on the kitchen counter. Great. With a deep breath, I turned back, walking up the steps of our small apartment and pushing the door open as quietly as possible. I didn't want to set her off again. I just needed to grab my wallet and leave. That was the plan. But then I heard her voice. At first, I wasn't paying attention. I figured she was watching TV or scrolling through one of those trashy reality shows she liked. But then, I settled for less. I stopped mid-step. For a second, I thought I misheard. Maybe she was talking about something else. Maybe she was on the phone with a friend, venting about work or a bad meal she had at a restaurant. Then she spoke again. "I should have been with Lucas, but I needed security. And Trevor? He was safe. He was stable. That's all." I felt my heartbeat slam against my ribs. My ears started ringing, my vision blurring at the edges. Trevor's a good guy, but not the one I wanted, not the one I ever truly loved. I went completely still. The air in the room shifted. My fingers hovered just inches from my wallet. But I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Her words echoed in my head, rearranging everything I thought I knew about our marriage, about her, about us. The late nights I spent working overtime, the vacations I put off so we could save money, the fights I tried to fix, all of it. It had never mattered. Because from the very start, she had never really chosen me. I wasn't her first choice. I was just the safe one. I clenched my fists, my breathing shallow. Every muscle in my body screamed at me to storm in there, to demand answers, to ask her if she really meant what she said. But I already knew the answer. She meant every word. And I refused to stand there, looking like a fool, while she spoke about me like I was some disposable option she had settled for. With a shaking hand, I grabbed my wallet off the counter, careful not to make a sound. Then, I turned around and walked out. No slamming doors, no shouting, no dramatic confrontation, just silence. And somehow that silence felt louder than anything else. I found myself at a bar, staring at a glass of whiskey I hadn't even touched. The condensation from the glass pooled onto the wooden surface, spreading out like the mess of my life. The words kept replaying in my head. I settled for less. He was just stable, not the one I wanted. I should have felt angry. I should have been furious, raging, breaking something. But all I felt was empty. Like something inside me had finally cracked open, and nothing was left but cold air. I thought about confronting her, maybe yelling, maybe demanding an explanation. But what would be the point? She had already told me everything I needed to know. So, sitting in that dimly lit bar, surrounded by the low hum of conversations and the clinking of glasses, I made my decision. I wasn't just going to leave for the night. I was going to leave forever. I drained my glass, the burn of the alcohol barely registering as I reached for my phone. My fingers moved on instinct, muscle memory guiding me as I logged into our joint savings account. I had been the one managing our finances, the one setting aside money for our future. Except now, there was no future, at least not with her. The numbers on the screen stared back at me. Years of careful planning, of late nights and overtime hours, of skipping out on things I wanted because I was saving for us. But it was never us, was it? 80% of that money had been mine. And so I took it. Not in cash, not in a way that could be easily traced. I transferred it into separate financial accounts, cryptocurrency, secure offshore savings, digital assets. Things that couldn't be tracked or reversed. I wasn't going to take everything, just what was rightfully mine. When the transactions were complete, I cleared every trace of them from my email. She wouldn't find them. She wouldn't be able to track me. And just like that, I was free. I left the bar without looking back. My feet carried me back to the apartment, but it no longer felt like home. It was just a place I had once lived, a place I had once believed in. I walked in without hesitation. My movements calm, steady, deliberate. I didn't let myself think, didn't let my emotions creep in. I packed only what mattered, important documents, clothes, anything I needed to start over. I moved like a man on autopilot, like I had already made peace with what I was about to do. Finally, I sat at the table staring at a blank sheet of paper. There was so much I could have said. I could have laid out every moment of my disappointment, every instance where I had tried and she had let me down. I could have told her how much it hurt to know I was nothing more than a backup plan, a security blanket. But I didn't need to say much. I picked up a pen and wrote, "I heard everything. I won't stand in the way of your happiness. Go settle with your ideal partner." No anger, no accusations, just the truth. By morning I was gone. Cynthia probably woke up expecting just another regular day. Maybe she thought I had crashed on the couch. She probably rolled over, stretched, and grabbed her phone first thing in the morning like she always did. But as she walked into the living room expecting to see me asleep on the couch, she found nothing. The cushions were undisturbed. No sign that I had spent the night there at all. Still, maybe she thought I had gone out for coffee or a walk, that I'd come back once I cleared my head. Then she walked into the kitchen, and instead of me, she found the note. It sat alone on the table waiting for her. That was when the first wave of panic must have hit her. She knew me. She knew I wasn't the type to make empty threats or storm out just to come crawling back. My phone started ringing, but I didn't answer. The calls kept coming, one after another. Then came the messages. I didn't read them, but I saw the notifications piling up. It didn't matter what she said. There was nothing left to talk about. I later found out that she checked the closet and saw that all my things were gone. My suits, my jackets, even the old hoodie she used to steal when she was cold. Wiped out, like I had never been there at all. She must have realized then that this wasn't just another fight. At some point she tried emailing me, but of course every message bounced back undelivered. She went to social media, searched for my name, nothing. I had erased myself from her world completely. I even heard that she called my office hoping to find me there, but all she got was the receptionist casually telling her, "Oh, Trevor. He resigned this morning." He sent an email before office hours, effective immediately. That was it. No explanations. No second chances. Just gone. I don't know what she felt after that, and frankly, I didn't care. I had spent years fighting for someone who never really wanted me. Now, for the first time, she had to deal with what it felt like when I stopped trying. I heard through mutual contacts that it didn't take her long to move on. She didn't have to pretend anymore, didn't have to sneak around. Lucas, the man she apparently should have been with, was now officially in her life. I won't lie. At first I wondered if she had gotten exactly what she wanted. Maybe she was happier. Maybe in the end she had made the right choice. But time has a way of revealing things. Lucas was charming, but he wasn't reliable. Passionate, but never committed. He enjoyed the excitement, the chase, the thrill of something new. But the moment things became real, he started pulling away. He was busy, distracted, unavailable when she needed him. And eventually the truth became impossible to ignore. He had other women. He didn't even bother hiding it. From what I heard, she confronted him at some point. Maybe she cried. Maybe she got angry. Maybe she demanded to know why he kept pulling away. And Lucas? From what I was told, he just shrugged and said, "I never asked you to leave your husband." At some point, she must have realized things weren't going the way she planned. But by then, it was too late. A few months after I disappeared, she filed for divorce. I wasn't surprised. I expected it. There was no point in holding on to something that was already over. I never went back to the apartment. As far as I was concerned, it wasn't mine anymore. She stayed there, at least for a while. Legally, it was in both of our names, but I had no interest in it. Through my lawyer, I made it clear I wasn't going to fight for anything. She could have it all. She had no way of reaching me directly, so everything went through my lawyer. I never spoke to her, never read any messages she might have sent. I had no interest in hearing what she had to say. The process was straightforward. My lawyer handled everything. Since I had already taken what was mine from the joint savings, there was nothing left to dispute. I didn't contest anything, and with no legal back and forth, the case was finalized quickly. In the end, the court granted her the divorce without any trouble. Just like that, on paper, we were nothing to each other. I don't know how she felt when she signed those papers, whether she felt relief, regret, or nothing at all. I wasn't there. I didn't care. Years passed. As far as I know, she never found what she was looking for. Every now and then I wonder if she ever thinks about me, if she ever wonders where I am, if I moved on, if I built the life we once planned, just with someone else. But she'll never know. Because by the time she realized what she lost, I was already gone. Thank you for watching.